So, what if everything you thought you knew about your family tree was, well, just wrong? I'm not talking about names and dates, but the entire reason for it. Let's forget about pride in noble ancestors or hunting for a famous relative. Today, we're going to dive into a philosophy where genealogy isn't some ladder you climb, but a ledger of responsibilities you have to answer for. This is literally the first thing an initiate in the Arreqqanarra culture is told. What a powerful way to start, right? It immediately challenges you to throw out all your assumptions about family history and what it means to inherit a past. The whole idea isn't to find yourself in your history, but to figure out your duties to it.
Okay, this slide really breaks it down for us. On one side, you've got the ladder. That's the one we're all familiar with, right? The climb towards better, supposedly purer ancestors. It's all about status and rank. But on the other side, you have the ledger. And this isn't about prestige at all. It's a record book, a record of debts, of duties, of obligations. It keeps track of what was done, what is still owed, and what work is left for you to do.
So, what does a ledger-based lineage actually look like in practice? Well, for starters, you completely stop celebrating who was supposedly better or more powerful. Instead, your focus shifts to what they carried, the burdens, the vows they took, and yeah, even the work they left unfinished.
Yeah, this is no greatest hits album of your ancestors. This kind of genealogy is a raw record of action and consequence. Who stepped up when things got tough? Who kept their word even when it was incredibly hard? And, this is crucial, who failed? Because in this system, failure isn't something you hide or erase. Nope, it's recorded right there as part of the story, as a duty of repair that can get passed down.
And here's the flip side of that coin. This system completely rejects any idea that your ancestry makes you inherently smarter or purer or more deserving of anything. The source material really hammers this point home. Anyone who claims their blood makes them better is either deeply confused or is just trying to grab power they didn't actually earn.
And you can see this whole philosophy baked right into their actual records. I mean, look at these symbols. You have straightforward things like the origin node. But check out the broken line. It's an X, marking a vow that was failed. It's not hidden away in a footnote. It's a permanent part of the ledger. And that braided line for mixed lineage, that's not a mark of dilution. It's celebrated as a symbol of adaptive strength.
This instruction, written on every single scroll, is everything. Let that sink in. Read downward for duty. Read sideways for alliance. But never read upward for worth. The simple direction you look changes the entire meaning of your history. Okay, so you're probably wondering, if genealogy is a social ledger, then where does biology fit in? What about our genes? What about DNA? Well, this culture has a fascinatingly practical view of genetics. For them, DNA is just data. It's an archive of your ancestors' adaptations. It's a probability map for your health, maybe giving you a heads up about what your body might struggle with. But it is never, ever a script for your destiny or a measure of your moral character. Think of it this way. Your DNA might whisper some helpful hints in your ear, useful warnings about potential health issues, but it has absolutely zero authority. It doesn't get to command who you become or what you can achieve. Your choices, your actions, those are all on you. And that leads us to this incredibly simple but profound maxim. DNA whispers. It does not command. It's all about separating biological probability from personal destiny. Your DNA is a useful guide for taking care of your body. It's not an excuse for your actions or a mandate for your life. So, if belonging isn't sealed by blood, what's the glue? What holds this society together? This is where the whole philosophy becomes this really powerful social fabric, creating an incredibly resilient and inclusive idea of what it means to be kin. Their society is built on these pillars. First off, chosen bonds, like deep friendships or allies you've sworn an oath to. They aren't just like family, they are family, with full legal weight. Remember that braided line symbol? That's not just a nice drawing, it's a core value. Mixed lineage is strength. And adoption isn't some second-class status. It gives you full, unquestioned legitimacy. Belonging is something that's braided together, not sealed by blood. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds really nice, but is it real? Well, yeah, it's not just some lofty ideal. It is hard-coded right into their legal system. Let's look at a court case that shows just how seriously they take this stuff. First, you gotta know this legal term, Talin-Misbind. It literally translates to duty corruption, and that tells you everything you need to know. They don't see the belief in blood purity as just, a bad opinion. They see it as a dangerous civic threat because it makes people confuse what they inherit with what they think they're entitled to.
So the case is about this guy, Vesserin, and he makes a claim to power based on his unmixed coastal blood. His whole argument is pretty simple. Hey, my lineage is pure, so I'm the rightful heir and I should be in charge.
And the back and forth in the courtroom is just amazing. Vesserin is arguing for this abstract idea of purity, but the arbiter's response is brutally practical. They're not interested in metaphysics. They want facts. Have you seen a duty fail? Has a vow been broken? Has any actual harm been done to the community because of this?
Of course, Vesserin can't name any actual harm. He just keeps insisting the blood itself is the harm. And that leads to this absolutely devastating final ruling from the High Arbiter. If your claim isn't based on civic reality, on duty, on service, on actual consequences, then it has no legal standing. It is, and I quote, metaphysical fiction. Wow.
The consequences are swift, and they make perfect sense. Vesserin's claim gets officially stamped duty corruption. He's stripped of his authority claim and removed from any eligibility for leadership. But, and this is the really interesting part, he isn't exiled or humiliated. He's ordered to undergo a re-education rite. See, the goal isn't just punishment, it's correction. It's about restoring the health of the community.
So what does this all mean for the individual living in this system? Well, it brings us to the final, crucial idea. The past isn't some prize to be won, it's work to be inherited. This chart just lays it all out, side by side. Where we might get caught up in seeing DNA as destiny, they just see it as probability. Where we might see blood as a measure of value, they see it as a source of obligation. And where we might see heritage as rank, they see it as responsibility. It is a complete inversion of the logic of supremacy. And this is the deal right here. This is the balance of freedom and duty that every single person gets. You have a ton of freedom. You can change your path, refuse the role your family held for generations, build new alliances. But, and it's a huge but, you don't get to pretend the past didn't happen. You can't just erase the ledger, deny the responsibilities written on it, or claim some kind of purity that just doesn't exist. And it all culminates in this oath that every initiate speaks. It's this profound commitment to an active, living engagement with history. I honor the past without being ruled by it. It's about acknowledging what came before, carrying the duties that are necessary, and having the wisdom to let go of the rest, all while knowing that your ultimate worth comes only from what you do. And that's where we land. The past informs the present, but only the present earns the future. Your history gives you context, but it doesn't give you a free pass. It's only your actions today, the repairs you make, the choices you take on, that earn you the right to help shape tomorrow. So I'll leave you with that question. When you look at your own history, what do you see? A ladder or a ledger?